Welcome to today's Seidokan Saturday. So next on the list of things to learn for the 9th Q or orange belt in my dojo is Pinan Nidan. A couple of things. Pinan Nidan is actually a simpler kata than Pinyan shodan. Ni means two, sho means one. So I teach Nidan first, even though it's number 2, because it's simpler. Funakoshi, who was a school teacher, and in school teaching, one of the things that you do is you try to order your teaching from simplest to most difficult. You start with addition, then you go to subtraction, then to multiplication, then to division, and so forth as you move up. You start with letters, sounds of letters, words, short words, larger words, sentences, paragraphs, term papers, so forth. So you start from the simple and you work to the large. When Funakoshi created, well, he didn't create Shodokan, his students named it that later, but when he brought karate from Okinawa to Japan, he taught Pinan Nidan first, but actually changed the name because he was teaching it first, which really makes sense. Heian Shodan in Shotokan is our Pinan Nidan from the Okinawan lineage. I keep the names as most Okinawans do, but again, I teach it from simplest to hardest. But wait, you say, you taught Seisan first for yellow belt, and it's a really hard kata, and in Shotokan, it's the Hangetsu kata, which is way more advanced, and it's not taught until after black belt. I teach Seisan because, again, as I mentioned in the yellow belt, that it was the first kata Toma learned. It's the basis of the Seidokan system as a kata. It is the foundation kata of all else that we do. It is also sort of my test for the new students to see, do they have the wherewithal, the chutzpah, the go-get-it to want to stay and endure long enough to learn that long kata, sort of a memory check. It's my nod to the old Shaolin temple days when the Shaolin wannabes would wait at the gate and the master would come out and tell them each day, go away, nobody admitted today, go away, nobody admitted today, to see who would come back day after day and sort of weed out the ones who were not serious enough to stick around. So it kind of fulfills all of those purposes to me by teaching Seisan first at the 10th Q yellow belt level. But now we start our serious study of kata, meanings, applications of kata at the orange belt level, and so again, I start with a simpler one, which is Pinan Nidan. Now, Pinan Nidan, you can see it anywhere and everywhere. There are some little differences. So after the bow, you'll have people in our own Seidokan system who bow by doing this hand salutation with a bow. Even though we've already bowed, they'll bow again before they step to the yoi or ready position. You'll see people step to wider yoi, more narrow. Once we're here in beginning, some will step away as they move, some will simply turn in place and move, some will bring the hand up and over and then down and around, some will do a sharp pull as a separate move. So there are going to be little differences in actual performance of a kata within even our own Seidokan system. Remember that a kata is simply a template of techniques. The techniques predate the kata. The fighting happened before the kata was systemized. A teacher didn't get in his head, oh, I'm going to go through this routine and now let's figure out how to fight from it. Now in our modern era, we're left sort of reverse engineering, and if you go back and watch my series on bunkai, way back earlier in the like 20-ish, 1915 through 25, somewhere in there, where I did a whole series on how we extrapolate the information of a kata for self-defense or fighting. You'll see more on that. But the idea is that Pinan Nidan is simply a template, and as long as we're all in our Seidokan system within 3 to 5% or less difference, it's still the same kata. This is how I teach it in my dojo. Don't think that I fully acknowledge this is not the definitive method. There are lots of ways of doing it, as I just said, but this is how I teach it, just so you know. So we begin with our salutation. Pinan Nidan. Salutation is done without the bow, the way Toma used to do it, even though Tamai changed it and others did. to the yoi, shoulder width yoi, which again, long been discussed. Looking to the first direction, small step. I don't take a huge step, but I do take a small step to shift into the cat. Coming around with the hammer fist downward as the heel drops from the cat stance. Step through punch. Same thing on this side after the low block turn. Oisugi. Coming to the front. Front stance. Typically we block in shiko. In the kata Pinan Nidan, we're blocking in zen kutsudachi. 3 agi-uke. Hey! Ki-ai on the third. Back turn 135 degrees. Maybe that was 100 and however many degrees. Going at the 45-degree angle, an important concept. Returning down the center, Imbusen. 3 oisugi. Hey! 45 degrees, low shitoke in cat stance, neko ashidachi. Again, neko dachi. On the 45, returning to salutation, and finished. That's our performance of Pinan Nidan in my dojo. Again, you can see a lot of different videos on this. Little minor variations, maybe in angles. Some may go straight here and then 45 at the end. Pretty much that's it. I'll do it one time from the other direction. Pinan Nidan. That's it for today's Seidokan Saturday, Pinan Nidan. Now, we get to start breaking down the bunkai, starting next week. Looking forward to that. And as always, until next week, keep practicing.